Hi, welcome to this week's episode of the Bag Makers Society. Sorry, I was just literally checking there that everything was going through and was working okay. Oh, sorry, that's technology for you and my phone not being on silent. So, yes, welcome to this week's episode. As you will have seen from the thumbnail, this week we have Dani from DD Practical Leathercraft. Sorry, I got tongue tied there. And you will recognise her from Make It at Market. She was on last year's series. So without further ado, let's bring her in. Hi Dani, you okay?
I'm good, thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, and we have the audio working. So yeah, we couldn't get the audio working when we first started, and we couldn't understand why. So yeah, that was why we are 1 or 2 minutes late in starting, because we just couldn't figure it out. So yeah, we've got a few people in the chat saying hello. So we've got Penny saying hello, we've got Sue saying hello, and we've got Mel saying hello as well. And I'm getting very technical with this now. I'm getting to know how to show the comments, not obviously getting to know how to put my phone on silent, obviously. So yeah, so like I say, obviously we know you from Make It at Market, which you were on, it was last year, wasn't it?
Yes, so we filmed last year and it came out in December. So
Right,
they're
yeah.
currently filming the next season, which will come out late this year, and ours will get repeated again just before the season 3 comes out.
Yeah, I think it's actually being repeated at the moment as
Yes,
well.
I think it's just started at like 2:30 in
Yes.
the afternoon or something.
Yeah, because my husband came in the other day and he was like, "That series that you love, there's a new series on and showing it at the minute." I was like, "Oh, great!" And then went on and I was like, "Oh no, it's." But I've just rewatched them anyway because I do really love it. I think like, obviously you'll probably be the same as me as like a creative person. Obviously you like watching anything that's creative anyway, but I think as somebody who's got a small business as well, I think anything that helps promote small businesses I just find really fascinating. So I love the concept because it kind of married the two. So I just thought it was a great idea, to be fair.
Yeah.
So but yeah, but obviously introduce yourself fully, because I've kind of jumped ahead a little bit. Introduce yourself fully and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay, so hi, I'm Dani. Um, I started leatherwork in kind of May, June 2020 during the pandemic because my partner and I both work we do sound and lighting in theatre world, but we couldn't do that because of the big P
Mm.
for a few years. Actually, it was about 3 years. We were the first industry to disappear and the last industry to
Mm-hmm.
come back. So my partner went and drove trucks, and he said to me, "Oh, I really need a new leather belt. I've got you a leather working kit off the internet. Off you go." And yeah, here I am,
Keep
4
yourself
years
busy.
later. Yeah. Um,
Wow.
so here I am 4 years later. Got my little business going, which is now, it was a side hustle, is now technically my full-time business, and I do the theatre work as a side hustle.
Right. Because I obviously remember your episode from Make It at Market was um you were doing the leather work secondary, and the purpose of going on was to really try and push through and leave doing theatre, or make that secondary. And have you been able to achieve that?
Yes, so I have gone from working kind of all over the country with the theatre stuff to I've done like one earlier in April, which is kind of a regular thing that I've always done for like a decade, and I'd probably always do that one. Um, and then I've got another one in October, and then pantomime, and that's it. Everything else, I've
Right.
been on the festival circuit since the middle of April, and that goes all the way through to the middle of October. And that's just
Mm-hmm.
be going to festivals and events with my leather stall, and yeah,
And
selling
then
my.
you sell online as well, don't you?
I do, but I don't. There's not really a lot going on online. I think with leather, people need to see it and smell it and touch it, and
Oh, you need to smell it.
Yeah. So I get lots of people that already have seen my products and know me and my products will order online if they can't get to
Yes.
events and things. I've had some orders come in from America off the back of the TV show coming out on BritBox worldwide as well. But yeah, typically it's the in-person events at festivals.
And have you sort of found, like, finding your type of events easy, or have you sort of found it difficult to sort of find the type of customers that you need for your type of product difficult to do, or was doing Making It Market really helpful with finding that type of thing?
Not really, because I was actually at my first proper festival last year when I found out that I'd got on the show. So I'd already found my
Right.
festival people. And I predominantly do VW shows, VW festival,
Right.
because there's always lots of ladies there that like leather earrings and bracelets and key rings. And the men like, I've got some men's bracelets and little wallets and belts and key rings and all kinds of things. So, yeah, ironically, my best festivals are kind of van life, VW festivals, glamping festivals, that sort of thing. With a few stationery, I have a few stationery events in there as well.
Right. Yeah.
It's completely
Oh,
different.
sorry, my stomach's really rumbling there. I hope the mic isn't picking that up. So one of the questions I would normally ask is obviously your favourite type of material to work with, which obviously for you, we know it's leather. But is there any other fabrics that you sort of tend to dabble in, or
No,
that you'd like to work with?
no, I'm a leather worker, so I will work with leather and leather only. And people regularly ask me why you're not lining this, that, or the other with some sort of fabric. Because the leather that I use doesn't need lining. It's beautiful all the way through. You shouldn't need to line it. And from a leather worker's point of view, and for people looking for leather, if it's lined and all the edges are coated and things like that, that tells me that it's not leather. There's no
Right.
reason. You shouldn't have to hide leather. So from my point of view, there's no reason for me to line it. I'm not interested in working with anything else. I'm not interested in working with any sort of alternative to leather, and no other fabrics would hold up would stand the test of time like leather would. So it would constantly be a battle of weighing up. You're going to have to replace lining and things. Yeah.
Yeah. And do you work solely with new leathers, or do you work with sort of like repurposed, or like offcuts from upholsterers and that sort of
I
thing?
have, yeah, I have a bit of both. I have a range that I really love and enjoy working with, but lots of people bring me bags of scraps of leather at festivals and events from leather companies who just have offcuts that would go in the bin if I didn't use them. Um,
Yes.
and the Museum of Leathercraft in Northampton has just recently closed. They rang me and said, we have this massive box of leather that if you don't come and rescue it, it's going in the skip type thing. So we drove all the way to Northampton and rescued all
Yeah.
this leather as well. So yeah, I've got, like, my workshop is full of bits of leather.
Yeah. Because are you on the West Coast?
Yes.
Yes. I thought, is it like Preston sort of
Yes.
way, if I
I'm in
remember
Preston.
rightly?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, because there's a few ladies who are in the Facebook group who do a lot of repurposing of leather, and making bags out of old leather jackets or sofas, that sort of thing. And I love to see that, rather than, like you say, it going in a skip when it's still got so much life left in it. Like, it might not have any life left in it as a sofa, but it's still got so much life left in it as something leather, and it can still be used, and it can still be utilized in some way. And I think it's one of the beautiful things about leather, is that it's it it's so versatile, and it can be used for so many different things, and it is, you know, such a beautiful fabric or material, and it will last for a very, very, very long time. Um, and it can be made into so many things, as you obviously do showcase in all of the things that you make. And by making so many different things, like you said just there before, you do make bags, you make key rings, you make bracelets, you make earrings. Like you kind of come down in the sizes, so that you're probably left with very, very little scrap or no scrap.
I don't throw away anything. For the festival stuff, people aren't walking around with 300 pounds in their pocket to spend on a leather bag. So I use absolutely everything to create smaller, reasonably priced leather products that are still going to last longer, and I'm kind of around the same prices as everybody else at the festivals. But my very teeny tiny little scraps I put into little cotton drawstring bags with my logo on, and they're leather essence bags. So, you know, like lavender bags. My nanny would have lavender bags, and it is the best smell in the world because it's pure leather, lots of different leathers mixed together, and it's such a rich smell. And then, yeah, I don't throw anything away. I use absolutely everything.
That's an amazing idea. That's so clever. Like, yeah, that's so, like, really, really clever. So obviously with like leatherworking as well, you use like lots of different like techniques as well. So obviously, do you use a lot of like hand stitching the leather or machine stitching the leather? Like, which is your favorite technique to use?
So I am a traditional leather worker, and I do everything by hand. I don't even own a sewing machine.
Right.
So it's hand tools, hammer, punches. I've got like an arbor press when I need some weight for things, for personalization and stamping. Yeah, I can pack up pretty small and turn up pretty much anywhere and produce work there and then, which kind of works because that's what I do with the festivals. I make on site at festivals as well.
Yeah, and that'll bring people to you as well, I imagine. People coming and watching what you're doing, and
definitely people like to watch, but also I kind of use it as even though I've been on the telly with my leather work showing everybody that I'm a leather worker, there's still lots of people out there that don't believe that I'm the leather worker. If I take my partner with me, they will ignore me. Even if I'm sat on my bench working, they'll ignore me and go straight to him and start asking him questions. He's like, no, I don't know what, this is her business, she's the leather worker. So I still have to deal with that. So I think, well, why not make and prove to everybody at the same time that I can do it, and I do it with my extra long pretty nails as well.
Yeah, I always remember that part of the episode. One of the first, well, it probably wasn't the first thing that he said to you when you got there, obviously editing with the TV, was him commenting on your nails, and obviously you saying they were part of your tools. I've just lost one of mine. Pinged across the garage. Yeah, I'm saying that. How do you work with them nails? And you were like, yeah, I can't work without them. So yeah, part of your armor and
Yeah.
your arsenal of tools.
Well, that's the thing when you're constantly hand stitching. Anybody that makes anything by hand and with needles, and you know how sharp those needles can be, and if you get it in the wrong place, it will go straight through your finger. So that they kind of do. They provide armor to my fingertips, and they've saved me so many times because I use them to push the needles in instead of thimbles and things like that.
Yeah. Does it stop your hands cramping up as much to sort of like use them rather than your fingertips? Yeah. Because I've had a go at making shoes this week. Not successfully because I didn't measure my feet right, but that's another story. And oh my goodness, like my hands were cramping so badly, like pushing the needle through and like say sort of, and I was using the edge of my nails, pushing it through and then back through the other, and I was literally doing, obviously I'm not used to doing it, so my hands don't have that memory of doing it.
Yeah.
I was only doing sort of 5 or 6 stitches, and I was like, right, I need another cup of tea. going to make another cup of tea, coming back to it, and what have you. And obviously I put all that effort in, went to try them on, I'm like, yeah, they're too small. Didn't measure my feet properly. I made the mistake, I think, of not measuring my feet flat.
Okay.
I measured my feet that way, so I was sort of like a size, but anyway, another story. We've got lots of people in the comments saying hi. So Karen saying hi, Lynn saying hi. That's my husband. Kathy's saying hi. Kathy does like to upcycle quite a bit as well. And we have Hollow Bag Creations saying hi as well. Yeah. So what's been one of the most challenging aspects of running your business?
I think time. Honestly, if you're not in a position to pay other people to do bits, then suddenly you are one of very many roles.
All those hats.
And you have to be good at everything.
Yeah.
And so, and I think for me, the hardest thing, but the thing that's kind of also worked for me is just my time management and working out, time blocking my days. When am I going to do this at this time? What priorities have I got? Because it's not just a case of sitting in my work, hiding away in my workshop, making away anymore. Like I have to show up almost every week. I'm at an event or festival, so I have to show up. I have to be there. My stall has to look aesthetically pleasing. I have to have stock. So which means I've had to have ordered in the leather and the hardware, and it's got to have got to me in time, and I've got to pay the invoices for that. And yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot to do, and I'm not gonna lie, it's hard. Like we've looked at it like this festival season, we probably work 100 hours a week. Easy.
Yeah. I totally get, yeah.
And like on top of that, we're sleeping in the car after we've set up. We're doing on a trading day, I could be kind of open, ready to trade, speaking to people from 9 a.m. till 11 p.m. midnight. And then you get 4 or 5 hours sleep in the back of a car and you got to do it all again the next day. And it's that every weekend. So it's a lot. You've got to be, I think I saw something recently and it says you've got to be a better salesperson than a leather worker to make this work. So it's all good making it beautiful, but if you can't sell it, it's never going to work.
Yeah. And I think as well, you've got to have real passion for what you do as well.
100%.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, as small business owners, we'll have to make money in order to live. Like, you know, but you have to have a real passion for what you do, or you burn out. Because if you're only doing it to pay the bills, then you might as well just go and work for somebody else to pay your bills. You've got to have a real deep passion to do what you do, because you have days where you think, no matter how much you love what you do, you have days where you think, why do I do this? Because you get somebody saying something horrible to you, or you get somebody, or you get days where you make something and you put so much time and effort into doing something and it goes pear-shaped, or I don't know, you drop something and it breaks, or you just have those days and you think, my God, why am I doing this? And because you check your bank account and there's nothing in it because you've paid all the suppliers and you haven't done the event yet to make the money back. You know where I'm going with this. And without that passion, it's there's no why to doing it. But like you say, you've got to have that, like, that sort of confidence, so to speak, to sort of like say, come and look at my stuff, it's great. Yeah, it can be really hard to do that, and it's something I think you probably, the more you do it, you get better at it. But it can probably be something quite difficult to start to overcome.
Definitely, you do have to have a confidence. You have to be confident in what you're selling as well, because people will ask you questions, and you need to be able to confidently answer those questions, and that comes with time and practice. But I'm kind of at the stage now where I can see people coming and I could almost tell you what they'll buy and in what color, because I've got
And
2
if
years
they're
of physically
browsers or
browsing,
buyers.
like, am I actually going to do the whole spiel with these people? Are they going to buy, or am I just going to let them get on with it? And if they engage with me, and it does help, and it gives you a bit more energy back, because then you can give it your all when you need to.
And that'll have come with lots and
It
lots of
comes with lots of
experience.
practice and experience, yeah.
Lots of hours spent sleeping in your car.
Yeah.
So if there's anybody sort of watching tonight or watching this back in future, that, you know, is either making leather things or is making bags or different things, that's looking into getting into do events or what have you, have you got any sort of advice that you could give for somebody just sort of starting out?
So I think I kind of was thrown into it because of the pandemic. So we just
Yeah.
kind of had to go with it and kind of crawl through the swamp of kind of business and life to work out where to get to. If you're just starting out, you want to find a community of people that get it, because your family and friends and partners and loved ones will support you no matter what, but unless they're doing this themselves, they have no idea what it's truly like. So you need a community of people to talk to, get knowledge from. They have experience. There's so many communities out there. I'm in a very, very specific niche one that is to do with theatre and performers who have side hustles. So it's a very niche one for me. It's called Performerpreneur. It's on Facebook. And having that community and that support makes a hell of a difference. And then 2, you need to have a good product and believe in that product. And you don't have to have an entire range of products. You just need to be able to sell one thing and sell it well. And so it's finding, I can't tell you how to find your customers, but you need to sit down and spend a lot of time working out who are your ideal customers, because then you can find out where they are and you go to them, or you make them come to you, whichever way. That's the key. Who is your ideal customer? Like for me, I'm a leather worker, so vegans are not my ideal customer. But surprisingly, I do have some vegan customers because I know what I'm talking about. I do the research when it comes to the fact-based stuff. Having that, being like prepared with that information does help, and it, like, to say that I'm a leather worker who has vegan customers is insane, but it's true. So it's depending on what materials you're working with. It's fine. Who is your ideal customer? Why do they want to buy? And what problem are you solving for them? So I could make leather anything to the cows come home, but people won't buy it if it isn't solving a problem. So for example, my leather earrings are super lightweight. So lots of people see my designs online, give it a week, and I'll see them on other people's websites. They've copied my designs, but they're making them in plastic or they're making them in wood. And they're not lightweight, they're not eco-friendly, they're not better for the environment. I'm providing the solution there. Mine can be worn in the shower because it's skin, it'll dry, it's fine. So it's finding that what is your solution to your customers' problems. Who is your customer? And a lot of people, I think most people's ideal customer is a version of themselves.
Yes.
Yeah.
I wholeheartedly agree with you. And I think you see so many times, like in, like, especially sort of like on Facebook, and you know, people chatting, struggling with exactly finding who their ideal customer is. And like you said, I think 9 times out of 10 is a version of them, or a version of who they have been. You know, like maybe if they're, you know, doing things for mums and they've been a mum, and it's things that they've had is when they were a mum and what have you. But I think, you know, sometimes they'll, you know, maybe people who make bags like I make, and there's a lot of time and effort go into these things, and people should be charging the right amount of money. And I get really on my high horse about this, like, you know, you shouldn't be charging £10 for a bag that's took you 10 hours to make, let alone all the materials that's gone into it. And, you know, school fetes aren't the type of events for selling those sorts of things. There's definitely a type of market for things at school fetes, but it's knowing the market that's going to be at a school fete. Do you know what I mean? And it's very much, you need to do your research. And I'm one of them people that can massively get on my high horse and talk till the cows come home about things like that, because I do get really passionate about it. But yeah, I think you're so right about knowing who your ideal customer is and finding them, finding where they are, and taking yourself to them, or like say bringing them to you if you're going to be online and that as well.
And I completely agree with the pricing, because if you're not serious about being a small business and doing this, and you rock up to an event full of traders that are deadly serious and have put every part of their body, soul, blood, sweat, and tears into this, and you underprice them by whatever, you are undervaluing everybody at that event, including yourself, most of all yourself, but you bring everybody's value down, and people see it, and then you won't be invited back. Basically, you need to price yourself, because it's not fair on everybody else that's worked so hard.
Yeah, and I think sometimes as well, undervaluing yourself and underpricing yourself, sometimes people will look at it and go, oh, well, it mustn't be very good if it's only that. And they actually won't look at the quality of the item, because they'll automatically assume that, oh, well, it mustn't be very good if it's only this. There must be something wrong with it. So you can sometimes counteract the sort of thinking that you're going to get sales by being cheaper. It can have the opposite effect. So having the right value on something, you sometimes can lead to more sales, because people see the value in it if you've targeted the right people.
And that's audience. The thing. And we've got so much to do with small businesses, but I also have a lot of education that I have to do from a point of view of leather and the facts and all of this information around that. But not only that, is I'm almost training this and the next generation of people into what quality is, and trying to get people out of this mind frame of, I'll just buy it. I can buy it for 20 quid off Amazon. Off you go then. You're going to buy it 10 times in the next 6 months. You buy it once.
It's false economy.
Exactly. You buy it once from me. It will last your lifetime. If it needs repairing, I can repair it. If you don't want to use it as the thing it was intended for anymore, we can repurpose it into something else. It's called a circular economy, and you cannot get that from anything off Amazon and Temu and AliExpress and all of these crap, cheaply made products that are saturating the markets. And we're seeing more and more of these at events. People are just buying cheap off Temu, selling it on, and saturating the market to the point that how are we supposed to make any money? We're making things in this country. We're trying to put money back into the economy, get Britain making again, and we're up against all of this cheaply made. Buy cheap,
Eileen's,
exactly. Yeah,
Eileen's put the nail on the head. Buy cheap, buy twice. Yeah. And then actually what you've just said there leads me perfectly into a question that I was going to ask with craftsmanship. So obviously being a leathersmith is obviously a craft. So have you been able to learn in person from anybody, or have you had to go out and learn yourself? And have you been able to be getting involved with anything where you're able to pass your knowledge on to the next generation, which is obviously something you mentioned there.
Yeah, so I'm completely self-taught during the pandemic because there was nobody to go to. And rather than there's lots of resources out there and you can buy patterns and use other people's patterns, but I've never done that because I'm very lucky that I have a brain that just sees something and can make it. So all my work is my own. I don't use anybody else's patterns. I don't even template or pattern my own work. I just make it.
Right.
I don't use any patterns,
Fab.
any templates, anything at all. And this is why people keep saying to me, well, can you not train somebody else to help you with when it's tough times? And I'm like, well, not really, because it's me. That's what you're getting. You're getting my brain, my ideas, my designs, my patterns. It's there in my brain. So yeah, so obviously I went on the TV show to get my master leather craftsman mentor, and he basically turned around and said, you're a leather worker. You've got it. You just need to keep going. And he's been doing it longer than I've been alive. So for me, that was kind of the good thing coming from the show, is because I went on to be like, actually, I've worked really hard to run this business, and I need to change everything. Do I need to change my techniques? And there wasn't really that much to do. So I do workshops with people. I've done like WI workshops where they've come and made their own leather earrings, and I teach them how to make bracelets and things. And I'd love to get into schools and somehow get a curriculum going for like trades. I think we need trades because
Yes.
we don't make anything in this country anymore. It's a nightmare. You there's always something you'd be like, oh, just order this online. No, you got to buy it from China or Japan or America or wherever. Yeah, people are very talented. All the people that are very creative and very talented came out of the woodwork during the pandemic, but we haven't had the support we need to make our businesses really great. So we just have to keep pushing, keep going. Yeah, so I'm just any opportunity I've got to. I'm hoping next festival season next year, I'm maybe looking into being able to do workshops on site where people can book in. And
Yeah, I was just literally thinking, as you were talking there was a couple of things we've been to this year where they've had a couple of tents where they've had workshops going at the same time as, obviously the other things going on. And I was just thinking there as you were talking, that would be a really good opportunity to have something at the same time as obviously having your like your stand there. But
yeah,
didn't obviously he wasn't the king then, he was Prince Charles. Didn't he start something about um crafts that were dying out within this country?
oh, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm going to look into it and I will add it into the description box down below. It might take me a few days. But yeah, I'm sure it wasn't that long ago, but he was definitely still a prince of Wales then. And it was about heritage crafts, so I'm sure leatherworking will have been one of them. And it was about crafts that were dying out, so there was literally only like X amount of people still registered, like the crafts guild, that
Yeah,
sort of thing.
yeah,
And it was about these people um taking on apprentices, and I think it was sort of like funded through like his charity work and that sort of thing, because it was like weaving, and there was quite a few different ones. um I will look into it and I will find out what I can, and I will add some description, some links and what have you in the description box down below. So if anybody knows what I'm talking about
yeah.
and goes, yes, you're right. I mean, I am my mother's daughter, so I might well have dreamt this. If my mum's watching this, she'll be laughing her head off. But no, I am pretty sure I did watch. It was either a program or a series of programs. It was a little bit along the lines of the program that you were on. I'm 100% convinced of it. Um, I know my mum's going to be laughing watching this, like that I've said I've probably dreamt it, because it's a little bit of a standing joke when we said, can you do you remember this or that, or did I dream it? So Sue's saying, I'm going to put the comment on. Yeah, Sue's saying, can remember that show, but cannot remember what it was called. They had stonemasons, metalwork, etc. Thank you, Sue. My mum still will be laughing that I've said I probably did dream it. Yeah, Penny's saying, I saw that, Prince Charles, as well. I saw the fence weaving. Yeah, because I'm sure it was some, they did like, it might have been, like the wall
The
building.
stone, the what
Mm-hmm.
are they called? There's a name for them. Yeah,
Menopause.
the
Can't remember.
walls that are built without any
Any
contact
mortar.
anymore.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Dry
So yeah, but
stone
I will.
wall. That's what they're
Dry
called.
stone wall. I
Yeah.
will look into it. I'll probably do it before the end of tonight because I'll get into bed and I won't be able to go to sleep because I'll be thinking about it, and I will add it into the description. But yeah, but it'd be interesting to sort of see if there's any like schemes going where there's any sort of like mentoring things where even just connections for people that are
Yeah.
interested in leatherworking, and because there's so many of these like heritage crafts that are dying out that even in some cases the next generation, they're not going to be,
Exactly. And there's nothing to
there's
say. So I class leather is a heritage craft. It dates back
mm-hmm.
to like prehistoric times.
Oh yes, uh-huh.
Female leather workers were buried with their tools. They were seen to be a very like it was a high class job. Like it was, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it was a good thing. And it's gone on for all of that time. But I think when people think of heritage, the word heritage and tradition, they assume that that just means the same typically male leather worker with some black or brown leather making belts,
Mm-hmm.
wrist, watch straps, wallets, and that's all you see an awful lot of that. But there's nothing to say
Yeah.
that heritage tradition like heritage and traditional leather work, it needs to evolve, and that's what I'm trying to
Mm-hmm.
do. Is you can bring in these colors, you can bring in good quality leather and make things that people wouldn't think to make. It has to be modernized because people aren't
Mm-hmm.
walking around with leather water carriers and like little leather coin pouch. Yes, they do in the reenactment and when they're going through all of that. But
Yes.
on an everyday practicality level, people are not walking around with
Mm-hmm.
Stone Age leather crafts.
But I mean, even sort of in medieval times, and beyond, like women had leather things in their hair, they had leather jewelry, so it, like I say, it wasn't
Wallpaper.
just for
Leather
men.
wallpaper was a thing.
Wow,
And
that's
I
so
went,
interesting.
yeah, so I went to the Museum of Leathercraft and did some filming there. It never made it onto the TV show, but it was an awesome trip, and we went there. And I can't. There was like an entire room that was just leather trunks, and we're
Mm-hmm.
talking. There's trunks there that were on Titanic. There's
Right.
the Queen's trunk from Christ, whenever, no idea when, but there
Mm-hmm.
was just so much heritage and um, wallets and wallpaper taken from previous royal properties where it was beautiful and colorful and bright colors and golds and reds and all of these rich royal colors, and that was wallpaper, for Christ's sake. Like, yeah. And then we kind of got stuck in this thing of it's just black and brown and it's just men's stuff. But it's yeah.
My husband must have been
He's been
online for me.
googling.
Bless his heart. It was called the Prince's Master Crafters. So I will go in and put links in the description so people can just click on it. But yeah, that's what it was. But yeah, but I mean that it obviously shows how versatile a material leather can be. That it can be used as wallpaper, and it can be used as suitcases, trunks, and all of those sorts of things, and to have people who can then craft it into those things so that it can then be utilized, because in all fairness, like, I'll be completely honest, for years I never used leather in my bag making because I was like, and you'll laugh at me, I was like, oh, it's cruel. And I'm a meat eater, right? And I'm a really big meat eater because I'm actually really fussy, and I don't eat a lot of vegetables and fruit. And again, my mum's going to be laughing when she watches this back. Um, I'm an extremely fussy eater, so I do actually eat a lot of meat. But I was like, oh, so leather's cruel because it was my lack of education that made me think that way because I'd never really looked into it. So I just assumed that leather came from animals being killed purely for their skin, and obviously didn't realize that it came as a byproduct of the meat that I was already eating anyway. So obviously I do use leather in my makes and everything now, and I really like using leather that's come from like a byproduct of like when upholsterers have pieces left that aren't big enough to be used for anything else, certainly big enough for me to be used for a bag and that sort of thing. It also means that I get it quite cheaply as well because it's kind of them selling off and what have you. um so yeah, so for a long time I didn't use leather for such a long time, and it just goes to show that, like you sort of said there before, you sort of really educated yourself on not only using leather as a craft and how to do it well, but the heritage behind it, the history behind it, um, the ethics behind it. Because yes, there will be leather that doesn't have good ethics. There will be leather
Not in
that
this
comes from places.
yeah.
Yeah, I was just going to say that there will be places
I can
and
hands
countries,
down
but
say there is going on in the
yeah,
world, but you
but you'll
can't
know how to avoid that
exactly.
because you've educated yourself.
It's so highly regulated. I have
Mm-hmm.
customers who think I keep a cow in my back garden and shave a bit off every time I want to make something. And I thought
Mm-hmm.
they would like taking the mick. They were deadly serious. The misinformation out
Mm-hmm.
there is shocking. But in the UK, it is so highly regulated because
Mm-hmm.
unless you're a business and you're importing and exporting, then you're not going to know this information. But it has
Mm-hmm.
to go through so many regulations, even tanning of leather. There's so many reach standards,
Yeah.
like a lot of standards that you see in clothes apply to leather as well because of dyes and the tanning and everything. And
Mm-hmm.
all as far as I can tell, I've not there might be some dodgy things out there, but I only or like get my leather from reputable leather suppliers,
Yes.
and you can trace everything.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you can't get leather in the UK that has been killed where the animal's been killed for its leather. It is a byproduct of the meat and dairy industries,
Mm-hmm.
and the same goes for goats, pigs, like because there's like an actual goat tannery. You've got sheepskin, obviously. They're just cheap. No
Yeah,
benefit,
because they're
like, if you
small,
do
aren't they?
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
There's so sometimes people say to me, because I do the animal print leather, but it's
Mm-hmm.
not leopard skin, it's cowhide that's been printed
Printed.
exactly, so it's all cowhide.
Yeah.
Um, but I use a great I'm gonna give you my supplier because 'cause they're amazing. They're called Leather 4 Craft, and it's leather with the number 4
Yes, I've
craft, yeah.
heard of them. Yeah.
They've kind of allowed me to have so my niche is the bright colors and having a very large range of colors, and they've allowed me
Yeah.
to do that because they buy the hides in from the big supplier, and then you can buy craft pack sizes, so A5, A4, A3, A2, A1, and then if you need to, you can go up to like a hide. So
Mm-hmm.
they allow me to give that big range of colors and different textures and everything to my customers, and I highly recommend them. They have lots of different you can kind of go on and filter down by the thickness that you want or the color that you want. And they'll have like a section for upholstery leather, and the leather that I use typically you wouldn't use for bag making because it's so thick.
Mm-hmm.
It's 2 mil thick.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because you need the
Structure.
structure for what
Yeah.
you're making, yeah. But if they have the option to have the thinner,
You can often order it in
um
2 mil or 1 mil. Yeah.
mhm,
And I always constantly just testing out what can you make, what are the limits, how far can I
yes.
push these limits? Yeah.
But that's how you find out, isn't it? And then that's what sets you apart,
Yeah.
because you've done the testing, you know what works or you know what doesn't work.
Yeah.
Um and that's, like you say, you've done your research, you've done your education, and because you know where it comes from, you know, like we say, when customers come and ask you questions, and you might get somebody like me who, you know, and I'm going back a while ago, you know, when I first started making bags, and I said, and I think it was Andy who was actually said to us, like, no, Deb, like they're not. And I was like, oh really? And he was like, but you know, you can then answer those questions, and you know, probably explain the whole process
Yeah.
from beginning to end, and reassure somebody who is, you know, maybe he's got reservations and doesn't understand that full process,
Yeah.
and be able to put their mind at ease
Exactly. And I'm
what
I'm
happens.
starting them really early. The minute they can talk, I'm talking to 3-year-olds, 4-year-olds, because I have a massive cowhide, a big hair on, super long hair, beautiful cowhide that I cut down the middle and made into my 2 table cloths.
Right.
So people see it and the kids see it, and that the reaction is either like, "That's a cow," or, "Oh,
Mm-hmm.
that's really pretty and soft," and, like, so it's kind of, but kids these days don't know what leather smells like. They don't,
Yeah.
like, even some adults are looking at this cowhide, which to me is obviously a cowhide, and they're like, "Oh, I don't know what animal that is," and, like, the kids are asking the question. So I'll tell them, and I start early.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going in and I'm educating them early so that they're not scared of this, and this misconception that we're all killing these animals for their hide. It's not true at all.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, I'm getting in there early as soon as I
And it's
can.
probably a very, very good sales tactic too. So probably goes back to the previous question of, like, any advice to give anybody who's
Yeah,
thinking of yeah, have a really good hook, get the kids in, and
yeah,
the parents will follow.
yeah.
Um,
And
but I
it's
think,
sorry,
sorry, I was just going
it's
to
yeah,
say,
no,
with having, sorry,
it
go ahead.
it is about, I guess you could call it manipulative marketing, but again, it's knowing your customers. Like a lot of festivals, people are there with their dogs. Dogs love the smell of leather and they either want to eat it or pee on it. Now, I can't have
Hmm.
them peeing all over my stand, so I've got little dog treat balls that go down on the floor full of treats, and it distracts them whilst their owners are in having a look at my stall so they don't pee all over my stall. But it also gets them in because they can smell
Yeah, yeah. And then
it.
having things that owners want to buy for their dogs as well, because dog owners always want to buy for
Yeah.
their things. But what I was, sorry, because there's a little bit of a delay as well, so you end
Oh,
up kind
okay.
of both wanting to talk at the same time. Yeah, so what I was just going to say about that sort of clever marketing, you know, having something that people want to come and touch, and you know, that things them in. You obviously doing your leather work as well is a really good marketing technique as
Yeah.
well, to get people to come in and see what you're doing. And as well, it's a good thing if you're having downtime and it's a little bit quieter, to be able to utilize that time effectively and make things while you're just sitting around. But people actually being able to see what you're doing, and like I say, seeing that you are making and you're not just buying it in from Timu or wherever, um you know, it's a really good talking point, and it gets people talking about what you're doing. And I don't know if you're anything like me, but I feel more comfortable when I'm in my little
No.
surroundings. Like, I obviously am filming in my sewing room, and you know, being on YouTube and doing these things, you know, I'm out of my comfort zone. It isn't the most natural thing to do. And if I was filming this in my sitting room, sitting on my sofa, I wouldn't feel as comfortable as what I'm feeling right now. But because I'm sitting in my sewing room and I've got one of my sewing machines here and I've got one of my sewing machines there, I feel a little bit more, obviously I'm not sitting sewing, but I feel a little bit more comfortable. So if you're sitting doing your leather working and somebody comes up and talks to you about what you're doing and what you're selling, you probably feel a little bit more at ease, and you probably then find it easier to then get into a conversation about them. So it's just so clever to
It's
have that set up.
yeah, definitely, because it's my safe space. That's what I've been
Mm-hmm.
doing for the last 4 years, and I know it. And in a field, in a festival with 5, 10, 15,000 people, do you know what? I'm the expert in leathercraft in
Mm-hmm.
that space. So it makes you feel good when you have those conversations. Everybody gets imposter syndrome all the
Yeah.
time. I get imposter syndrome and I'm sat there like, I can't make a decision about this. Does this look good? It's not good enough. I'm a perfectionist. But then in that moment, when you're having a conversation and people are like, oh my God, like, did you hand stitch this? Like, this is incredible. You're just like, yes, it's like the best feeling
Mm-hmm.
in the world. And it just picks you up. If it doesn't matter how your day's going, it picks you up. And in that moment, you're like, yes, like I am the expert on this subject in this circumstances. I'm the expert and I feel amazing about it and I could talk forever about it.
Yeah.
And
So
that's
when you were in the theatre industry, was what you did in the theatre industry helped you in any way in what you're doing in the leatherworking?
uh I don't not necessarily. Well, I'm naturally have like strong hands and strong arms because in the theatre industry we can work like 18-hour days, rigging, lighting and sound, and so we're a special type breed of people, as it were. Like not everybody could just go to a theatre and
Yeah,
pull an
and
18-hour
work.
shift at a theatre. And no, yeah, so it's skilled work. um we're very good at working under pressure, to time scales, um, and working with people, I suppose. Even like
Mm-hmm.
working backstage, my role, I still have to deal with cast and members that are performers. Um, so I think we just naturally resilient, uh, hardworking. Yeah, like I think
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot in there that does help. And I'm not
So
gonna
is it more
lie.
the tech side?
Yes, so technical rather than performing, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, when you go to the theatre and you see all the lights, I've
Mm-hmm.
probably I've rigged the lights, and the lights have been put in
Right.
certain positions, and they have certain colour frames in them, and all the thing it all has to be set up before a show. And
Mm-hmm.
when we're doing the sound, we're like, sometimes I'm kind of backstage putting microphones on the cast and making sure they all work, or swapping them over when they have issues, or we're right at the back, we're physically mixing all the faders so that you hear a good sound. So
Interesting.
it is, yeah, you can't just walk in and do a theatre job.
No,
So it's
no.
hard, and me and my partner have both done it since we were like kids, since like I remember doing it when I was at school, like at secondary school, and the same, I'm
Mm-hmm.
sure he started at about 16, and he's been doing it 20 odd years, 30 odd years probably now. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so yeah, it's tough work. Like our friends and family kind of, they have to like book us in. They book us in the diary because we're used to working long hours. Like if you go on tour,
Mm-hmm.
you're working away from home a lot. You're working long hours a lot. So when it comes to being a festival season, Dave and I are like, boom, we've nailed it. We can work on 3 or 4 hours sleep. Like it's fine. We're used to
Yeah,
that. Um,
it's like a little holiday.
yeah. We go to festivals to work, to get away from, yeah. So and this year we're gonna go work pantomime to go on holiday from the business this year. Yeah.
Bit of a break.
Yeah.
So, one of the other questions I wanted to ask was, obviously you said that all of the things that you make, you've kind of conjured up in your head, you've made your own patterns and everything like that. Do you ever envisage releasing your own range of patterns so that people can make their own DD Practical designs?
It's not really something that I've ever thought about. Just probably because like I'm already seeing people just take them and use them anyway. So I should probably be monetizing this. But I suppose it's not just as simple as here's my pattern. It's suddenly got to be this is available on 64 different versions of iOS and Android and downloads and PDFs and all of this, that, and the other. I don't know, something in the books. I have a very long list of to-dos that people would like me to do, and there's only ever so
Yes.
many hours in a week to do things. But yeah, I always say like lots of people are interested in making something themselves, then get in touch with me and we will organize like a workshop and I will teach you how to make what you want to make the right way. Yeah.
Yes. And it's passing on that
Exactly.
craft as
Exactly.
well. It's somebody else out.
I'm not precious about holding on to, like, I openly tell people where I get my like people come to me and say, "Oh, I'm dabbling in leather work. Like, can you give me this information?" Take the information. I'm not not precious about it because I know that what I do is unique. Nobody can copy it to a T. So you'll know if it's DD
Because it's
Practical.
come from you.
Exactly. And it is me. This is why people keep saying, well, why don't you just get someone else to make things? I'm like, because then it's not me. And like, I am DD Practical. Like, I am the brand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And obviously as well, like, when you've got such a fantastic supplier, you kind of want to shout about them as well.
Exactly.
You don't want them to go out of business.
No, exactly.
So
I need
you
them. I need people to buy this leather as well.
Yeah, Karen's just been saying there that she's been looking at their site recently, so we'll get Karen to go along and buy some stuff as well. But yeah,
they're a fantastic small family-run business down in Brighton. Like, you get your order in, and usually it's on your doorstep within like 48 hours. They're incredible. They're really, really good. If you're not sure, you can give them a ring, have a conversation with them. They literally just had an open day. It was on the 7th, like last Wednesday, where you could book and go down, and they ordered in lots of special leathers and one-off leathers and hides and offcuts and things. You could just go and have a rummage. But yeah, they're incredible. I can't shout about them enough. And I like to be supporting small, not necessarily local, but a small independent run business. Yeah.
And they probably do things like those open days fairly often, maybe even if it's yearly. So if you follow them online,
definitely,
or sign up to newsletters.
They're on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. I think that's about it. But you can sign up to a newsletter, and they'll send out information of one-off cuts, and they sometimes do like 5 kilo bags, or you can just buy scraps, or they might have offcuts of things. Like, they're always there's always something on there that's going to help somebody.
I'll find their website as well, and even if it's tomorrow, and put a link in there in the description box down below as well. I'll go back through and make sure I put links, and if I forget, somebody can put a comment in and I will go back and put it in as well. So, but I think I've covered all of the questions that I have got a couple of notes, so I keep looking down, that I wanted to kind of ask you. I have been so excited to speak to you. Like, when I sent you the email, like, I was like, oh, I'm going to push my luck and I'm going to email her and see if she'll come on. And then when you replied saying yes, I think I was in the car. Andy will probably like comment and confirm, but I'm pretty sure I was in the car and like gasped. I was like, she said she'll come on. And I was like, what? And I was like, oh, like that lass said she'll come on the podcast. He was like, bloody, bloody hell, man, Dave, pack it in. I do it all the time. I don't even know why he puts up with this. Like, I'm such hard work. Like, I really, really am. But yeah, I was like literally like over the moon when you said you'd come on, because like working with leather, though I don't ever think I would get into the hand stitching, because
Yeah.
obviously I am a
I'm not gonna
sewing
lie,
machine
it
girl.
is tough. It's tough on your hands. Yeah.
Yeah, but I love, like, I'm one of them weirdos that likes to watch things on YouTube, and I love watching people sew things on YouTube, including it on like doing the hand stitching, which then brings me actually on to Arlene's comment, who's asked me if you have a YouTube channel.
So yeah, I do have a YouTube channel. There's a lot of stationery because I'm a stationery nerd as well. There's a lot of stationery throughs, so if like things like that, there are some leather videos on there, like making of this, that, and the other. I've done some videos about tools that I use, and there's also the video of me building my workshop through the summer of like August 2022 when I gave up my shop. So there's like a bunch of random stuff on there. I need to get back into it, but again, it's time consuming.
Another thing to add to the list. Yeah,
it's easier just to do a little portrait, 60 seconds, chuck it on the socials. But yeah, I'm just DD Practical.
Put it on YouTube Shorts, though.
I need to get better at doing that. Yeah.
But
I just kind of
I'll
want
add a link again.
Everywhere, yeah.
Yeah, I will add a link to your YouTube in the description below. If I can't find, if it'll come up, but if I can't, I'll message it and get the links and what have you. But yeah, but I love to watch people, you know, that way, and it's so fascinating and such a skill to watch. It's just amazing. But I will link to your Instagram and everything like that, so people can look to see. I should use this hand because this is the one that isn't missing a nail. I will link to your Instagram so people can look to see which festivals that you've still got the rest of this year, and obviously in the future if they're watching this on replay at any time. And yeah, I'm going to check it out as well and see if you're doing any that are local to me, because you are over this way sometimes, aren't you? Over
I spend a lot of
time.
Whereabouts are you based?
Like Washington, but like towards Durham, end of Washington.
I spend a lot of time in Darlington because that's where I live, and that's where my mum still is, in Darlington. We do a lot of events in the kind of north. We're over at it's called Dubs in the Dales in September, like the last weekend in September. That's at Thorpe Perrow, just down from North Allerton. So it's County Durham-ish, sort of across that. Yeah, and we spend a lot of time in the northeast.
Yeah, I'll go. I'm gonna go on and have a look to see what, because like, you know, I can drag my husband to a dub event.
A dub event,
no
exactly.
problem.
You can get day tickets and just pop down. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll get him to go to any event like that. I mean, he does get dragged all over the place, bless his heart. You know, I dragged him to Macclesfield for a cup of coffee the other week. So, yeah, I'm not even joking. So we will get to come to an event and come and say hi in person. I mean, my daughter lives in Leeds, so any that are around that event at the same time.
We've literally just come back from a festival in Leeds.
Oh, wait, in all fairness, she's at home at the minute because she's a student, so she's home at the moment. But yeah, I will check out your Instagram and I shall make sure that I attend an event and come and say hi in person, and obviously come and look at your amazing stuff in person as well, and then I can physically stand and watch you working, and yeah, it'd be fab. But thank you so much for giving up your time this evening and telling us all about your journey. And yeah, but your episode is on iPlayer as well. It obviously, the series has been repeated at the moment.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's like 30-minute. I think it's like a reduced. So the iPlayer's got the full 45 minutes, and they're currently reducing them to like 30 minutes. So there might be some bits missing from the
Right.
replays at the minute on the live TV, but you can definitely still watch
Right.
it on iPlayer at the minute.
Yes, it is still on iPlayer because I watched it the other day, and they need to watch it. Even if they don't watch it for your leather work, they need to watch it for your amazing sunflower dungarees.
Yeah.
Because when I watched it again the other day, I was like, oh, I forgot about them sunflower dungarees. I need a pair.
Yeah.
So
They are
you'll have to message me on Instagram to tell me where you got them, because
They
I
are,
need it.
I'll give you a little, they are Lucy and Yak.
Oh, I've heard of them.
Come in, yeah, I have everything you could buy, really.
I have heard of them before. Yeah, I just need a pair of I mean, I'll go on and see all the other ones that I need, but I need a pair of sunflower dungarees in my life.
Yeah.
So, I mean, who doesn't, to be honest with you? But yeah. Andy's literally going to be...
Especially when the weather's rubbish at a festival, you just rock up with your sunflower dungarees, bright pink hair, and I'm like, I'm here, I'm ready, let's have a awesome weekend.
Andy's literally going to be sitting in the other room with his head in his hands. Which he often does, to be fair. So yeah, it's just his life. But yes, but thank you once again. So next week's episode is with Katie from K&B Sewing Machines. So she is another female who does a job that is not usual for female. So she is a sewing machine engineer. So I am really excited to have her on. So, and then she has an upcoming masterclass for sewing machine maintenance. So that'll be really interesting. So we're going to speak to her all about that. So that's going to be next week, 8 o'clock on Tuesday. So if you can, obviously, I know you don't own a sewing machine, but if you want to come along and watch, you're more than welcome. But if anybody else wants to come along and watch, that will be next week at 8 o'clock. So Arlene's saying, great interview. Thank you very much, Arlene. So we shall see you next week at 8 o'clock. See you then. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.